If you want an affordable way to up the street appeal on your 2010 to 2013 Camaro, this rear spoiler in carbon fiber print will be a great option to look at. Now this is going to be good if you're searching for ways to add some aggression to your build, if you're a fan of the wicker bill styling, and will be great if you want to add a little bit of that carbon fiber touch without breaking the bank on true carbon. Now I do want to mention that this will require some drilling to the trunk in order to install this. However, it is pretty easy if you don't mind the extra modification. Just want a good looking and very easy way to elevate your Camaro. Now this will feature that ducktail or wicker bill inspired styling, which will match with other aggressive body mods that you've already done or plan on doing to your Camaro. Now while this does add a lot of extra style, this is also going to be functional and reduce some air drag and create some stability for the rear end of the car. Now I do also like the fact that it is going to be hollow. It's not going to be a solid unit. That's going to save a lot of weight, so you're not going to be adding virtually any weight at all to the back of your car. Now this will be made of a polypropylene material, which will be durable yet flexible enough to form and fit well to the trunk of the Camaro. Now the carbon fiber print is also hydro dipped onto the polypropylene for a seamless look. It does have a really nice finish to it, but I will say that it is not a true carbon fiber woven pattern, but it does have that look or that inspired feel from carbon fiber. Now the kit will also come with self-tapping screws and everything else that you need for a straightforward install on the trunk of your Camaro. Now this will come in at about $200, making this a very affordable option compared to others on the page. Now what I will say about this is that it is going to be solid when it comes to the build and has really good fitment. Now it also is no doubt going to elevate the appearance of the rear end of the Camaro, and honestly I think if you simply like the look of carbon fiber and want that inspired feel, but you would rather keep it affordable, then this is going to be a great way to do it. Install will be a 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, taking you about an hour to get the job done. Now, the tools that you'll need on hand are a drill and a set of standard drill bits, a Phillips head bit or screwdriver, a ratchet or an impact wrench with an extension and a 10mm socket, a pry tool, a knife, and some adhesion promoter, as well as a water-based cleaner to make sure that the trunk is clean before you install this. Now, speaking of the install, one of our customers here has installed this on their Camaro and is going to walk you through what that process looks like. So that's going to wrap it up for me. Let's go ahead and get into it.
Good evening. Tonight we are going to be replacing the spoiler on our 2010 Chevy Camaro 2SS with the spoiler gotten from AmericanMuscle.com. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is remove that SS badge because the new spoiler will end up covering over that. So in order to remove the badge, I have to take off the affected area in order to avoid scratching the paint. I am not very worried about scratches and stuff on this car. It's got a lot of work to be done to be build ready anyways, and this trunk already has a couple of holes in it. So I'm not worried about damaging it too much, but I just wanted to show you how to do it so that you know how to do it correctly. So I'm going to spray it with a little bit of soapy water, give that a second to soak in. That's going to help us take everything off, and again, that's going to provide us a little bit of lubrication to avoid damaging the paint or the emblem or anything else along the way. So I've simply got some fishing string here. It's a little bit stronger than most other devices that I can use to pull off. And what it's effectively going to do is cut through the adhesive on the back side to make it easier to remove. So all I do is slide it in there and very slowly and carefully run it back and forth, up and down at the same time. And there you have it. Let's come off. And then what I would do is do a little bit of work to with a scraper of sorts. I will probably try to very carefully use a razor blade to do it, and I will take off the rest of this adhesive used to hold the badge on. So our next step is to remove our push pins. There's one here, 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 and here to pull this off, and this will simply pry off as well. Now, you can skip this step if you in fact do not have a factory spoiler on there or another spoiler in place. That doesn't need to be unbolted from the first place. My lighting is not at a very good angle here, but once you get in here and start really working at it, you'll be able to catch the gist of what's going on. Some of these are going to be very difficult to pop off sometimes. This was a Southern car, spent most of its life in New Mexico, under the New Mexico sun, so I've been finding that a lot of the plastic I've been pulling off is not wanting to cooperate too well. I did purchase some new push pins. I highly recommend doing so as well before beginning this procedure. Go to your local auto parts store, pulling all these off. And then once I get them to come off, I'm going to show you the very crucial part of removing this while not cutting this off. Otherwise, anybody that you throw in the trunk will be able to get out if you simply cut that off or break it. I'm going to go into removing the trunk release. Very simple, just turn it, flatten it. This is grooved and cut so that you are able to easily sneak that back in there and let it rest. So we're going to set this out of the way for now. And then I'm going to show you our screws. So there's one here, and then you have to pull these plugs off, get inside of there to remove the rest of the nuts that hold this original spoiler together. I did see a couple of people had to remove these. I am not certain why, because the nut is accessible from right there. There isn't one there. So now it is time to remove the plugs. Once again, using a non-metallic scraper to simply pry into the rubber very gently, not to wreck it or wreck it. Does not take a lot of force. Does not take a lot of force. There we go. A little bit of an issue. And now you will expose your 6 nuts holding the stock spoiler nut. Now, fortunately for me, I recently bought this socket set from Milwaukee, and I still happen to have my 10mm socket. So I got one. So let's go ahead and remove this. Going to leave that one in to help hold the spoiler steady so that it doesn't swing and wreck on me. Last one, hold the spoiler in place. Okay, the spoiler itself does not seem to want to fall off. So we may be gently coaxing this to come off. Close the hood and simply give it a twist back and forth with a small rocking motion, break it free. So I simply had to rock it back and forth a little bit to get her to break loose. There is some adhesive holding in place. And then there's a clip right here that is busted off on me, which was a given, but that is what they use to hold the spoiler in place on the factory job. Looks like I have some cleaning up to do. So as a good installer, you should always clean up your area and your affected area where you're going to be working and putting your items together. I've cleaned up to where I feel is necessary. Considering the damage on the vehicle, I'm not going to go extensive and hyper clean and detail it. However, I would recommend you do so if it is your own vehicle and it is in good shape. So now I'm going to simply test fit my piece and do that. Get it to sit about where I believe it should be. And I'm going to judge that based off of the way that it feels, the best way that it lines up. As you can see, it kind of rolls a little bit. Plastic's quite movable. And this is plastic, do not fool yourself. But it does seem to be a very good working piece. So when I go to install this, once I'm going to remove this, I'm not going to leave it on here. But now that I see where my lines are of about approximately, these are the areas I'm going to tape off, is just underneath of the points where the screws go in. I'm going to tape those off and then adhere this to the vehicle with some sort of adhesive in order to hold it in place. I forgot my sticky, so I'm going to end up just taping it on and hoping for the best. But yes, I recommend getting some sort of a sealer or adhesive to put on here just to hold this in place while you're doing the work so that you do not lose your alignment for each hole, because you're going to have to drill each one of these holes individually. So first I'm going to tape off my affected area, as I said. I'm going to get a small mark for where that's going to be, and then we'll go from there. All right, so now I have prepped my area up. I have put down masking tape everywhere that each of these indents is. These are what indicates where your screws should be going into. These are the screws that they send with them. There's 8 of them, and there are 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 indents where these screws will go. So hopefully your kit came with more screws. I will probably be complaining about this and then requesting that they send me some more screws. So for now, in the meantime, I'm going to put in 4 screws in the bottom and then another 4 screws in the top, and then I will attempt to acquire more screws later and then finish this job out later when I get time. But in order to do this, so I've taped off the areas where this is going to be sitting, as you can see, and then I'm going to drill into each of these spots where I'm going to be putting these screws with a 1/8 inch drill bit that I have, just to, basically it's going to be a pilot drill. It's going to be a pilot hole to allow the screws to go in a little easier and make your material a lot cleaner, so it'll be more secure. As you can see with each one of these indents, the screw head is only so large, so it's only going to be able to take up so much of the area. So I will be placing my screw points in about right here, where the tip of my screw is gone right there, in order to make sure that my head grips in there nicely and doesn't collapse the outer areas outside of their indents. You will want to prump your trunk open and have something like a 2x4 or something across this. So what I'm doing here is I'm pulling this edge as close to the trunk as I can. So as you can see, I can shift and roll this. So I want to put this corner onto the outermost edge of the corner of the trunk as I possibly can. So I'm going to pull it down, and it's going to be by feel. And that is where I know that is probably going to be the best spot. For those of you unfamiliar with drilling steel, understand that lots of pressure, very little speed is what you want in order to get through the metal. Now the plastic material, on the other hand, pretty much the opposite. You want high speed, very little pressure, just so you're warming up and getting through it. With steel, you want it to be as cold as possible, so you want to push hard and spin slowly, very slowly. I have all 8 holes drilled and my screws gently inserted, and then now I'm going to pull them all off and remove everything out of the way so that we can finish our final prep work and get everything ready to go back together. And now I'm going to finish my prep work. I'm going to clean all of this off, and then I'm also going to deburr this. So what I'm going to do is gently cover this over in place and start screws. Starting from the top simply because it's easiest to access right now. Just getting it gently started. I'm not gonna run her home. Not yet. bottom. Get this aligned. Get that started. Same with here, and then I'm going to do the same with the rest of the 3 screws. Alright, I didn't screw in anything, so that's a very good sign. So now I'm going to finish tightening these in, like I said, by hand, do my final cleanup, get everything put away, put together.
So that's gonna wrap it up for my review and the install of this rear spoiler in carbon fiber, fitting all 2010 to 2013 Camaros. And remember, for all things Camaro, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.